September 1877. A hill in southern Japan. A man is bleeding from a wound. His army of 30,000 has dwindled to 40 men. Surrounding him on every side, 50,000 government soldiers in Western-style uniforms, armed with modern rifles, using artillery he helped design. He helped build everything that is killing him. He helped found the modern Japanese army. He trained the officers now commanding forces against him. He helped overthrow the old government to build this new one. His name is Saigo Takamori. He is the most celebrated military figure in Japan. He is dying in a rebellion against the country he built. 12 years after his death, the emperor who ordered the army against him will issue a posthumous pardon and restore his honor. They killed him. Then they made him a hero. Stay with me, because the man Japan calls its greatest samurai is the man Japan had to destroy to become modern. Saigo Takamori was born in 1828 in Kagoshima, the capital of the Satsuma domain in southern Kyushu. Satsuma was unusual, more samurai per capita than anywhere in Japan, a warrior culture that valued austerity and loyalty above most things, and a distance from Edo, the shogunate's capital, that gave it more independence than most domains could claim. Saigo rose through Satsuma service by being genuinely exceptional. He was physically imposing, politically shrewd, and personally magnetic in a way that drew followers. He survived exile twice, the second time on a small island for 3 years, working as a farmer and fisherman. When he came back, he led Satsuma's military forces into the alliance with Choshu that toppled the shogunate. Without Saigo's leadership in the field, the Meiji Restoration of 1868 doesn't happen the way it did. He helped build the new Japan. The problem came when the new Japan asked him to be something he didn't know how to become. After the Restoration, Saigo became one of the most powerful men in the new Meiji government. He helped organize the new national army on a modern structure. He helped plan the administrative reforms that dismantled the old feudal system. He supported the abolition of the domains, including his own Satsuma. He was doing what he had fought for. Japan needed to modernize. He understood this. What he did not understand, or did not accept, was what modernization would do to the values he had built his life around. The samurai class was losing its stipends. Their right to carry swords was about to be abolished. The hierarchy they had occupied for generations was dissolving. Saigo's identity was samurai. The new Japan he had helped build was moving past it. His response to that? The policy dispute he chose to make his breaking point tells you everything about the contradiction at the center of his life. In 1873, the Meiji government debated whether to launch a punitive expedition against Korea. Saigo argued for it, and argued for leading it personally. His reasoning was, at least on the surface, that Korea had been disrespecting Japanese diplomatic communications and needed a military response. But there was something else. He reportedly told allies that he expected to be killed by the Koreans, which would give Japan a pretext for war. He seemed to be looking for a way to die honorably, while the world still had space for that kind of death. The government rejected the Korea expedition. Iwakura Tomomi and Okubo Toshimichi, returning from a tour of Western nations, argued that Japan needed to consolidate internally before any foreign military adventure. Saigo resigned and went home to Kagoshima. He didn't plot. He did something quieter. And the Meiji government, watching from Tokyo, wasn't sure whether to be relieved or alarmed. Back in Kagoshima, Saigo didn't plot. He did something quieter. He opened schools. They taught traditional samurai values, Chinese classics, martial arts, the old codes. Former samurai came from across Kyushu to study there. Thousands of men gathered around him. The Meiji government watched this with increasing anxiety. Saigo had resigned, but he hadn't disappeared. He had built a private military ecosystem in the one domain that had always been hardest to govern. In 1877, the government made a decision that accelerated the conflict. They sent agents to move weapons out of Kagoshima's arsenal. Saigo's followers raided the arsenal first. Young students, acting without Saigo's explicit order, took the weapons. Saigo was now leading a rebellion, whether he had intended to or not. Once it started, he didn't walk away from it. What followed was 8 months that decided what Japan's story would be. The Seinan War, the Southwestern War, lasted 8 months. Saigo's forces outnumbered the government army initially and won several early engagements. But the government had conscripts with rifles. Saigo had samurai with swords and a shrinking supply of ammunition. The government also had something else. Many of the former samurai who might have joined Saigo had already decided the new Japan was worth defending. Former comrades fought on opposite sides. Saigo was wounded in the final battle at Shiroyama on September 24, 1877. Accounts vary. He may have committed suicide by cutting his own throat, or had a follower end it for him, after the wound made further fighting impossible. He died on a hill surrounded by the army of the Japan he had helped create. What the government did with his story after that is, somehow, stranger than the rebellion itself. Here is the strange aftermath. The Meiji government prosecuted the rebellion. They executed surviving leaders. Then, 11 years later in 1889, the Emperor Meiji issued a posthumous pardon for Saigo Takamori. The man who had led an armed rebellion against the government received from the Emperor himself an official restoration of his honor. Why? Because the government, having won, needed Saigo's story. The narrative of the loyal samurai who died for his values was too useful to suppress. It inspired soldiers. It embodied the version of Japanese identity the Meiji government wanted to project. They killed him. Then they canonized him. Saigo Takamori helped destroy feudal Japan and build modern Japan. Then he led an armed rebellion against the modern Japan he had helped build. He is commemorated today with a famous statue in Ueno Park, Tokyo. He is the model for the character in the American film The Last Samurai. He remains one of the most beloved figures in Japanese history. Here is the question. Was Saigo's rebellion a betrayal of the Meiji Restoration? Or was it a warning that modernization was moving too fast, abandoning values that Japan would need later? The Meiji government that won is remembered as a success. The imperial Japan that followed, with its military expansionism and its eventual catastrophe, is a more complicated story. Saigo said the new Japan was losing something essential. He was not entirely wrong about that. This is the Dragon Throne. We cover the men who built nations, lost their place in them, and went down fighting. Subscribe. New episode every week.